What if I told you at your bird feeder are living dinosaurs? Come with me on this journey as we discuss dinosaurs, their extinction, and how birds are the last surviving dinosaurs on this planet. Let's dive in. All right, so first I want to do a little bit of background to the extinction of the dinosaurs. So if you didn't know, most dinosaurs went extinct around 66 million years ago when a huge asteroid hit the Earth, causing the instant death of millions of living creatures and filling the sky with debris that made life on Earth extremely difficult, especially for extremely large, lumbering giants like the dinosaurs, because they relied on immense amounts of food and most of that died off as well. This theory of the dinosaur extinction, while questioned in the past, is now widely accepted by scientists and paleobiologists and paleontologists. But if you don't believe me, I encourage you to read The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs by Steve Broussat. It's an awesome book and I just finished it. And not only does it talk about the dinosaurs, but it also gets into birds, which of course are dinosaurs. We're going to talk about that a little bit more right here. Also check out the YouTube channel by Lindsay Nicole or PBS Eons, both of which I'll link in the description as well. So dinosaurs ruled the Earth for about 140 million years, and over a slow burning of thousands of years following the asteroid, they began to fall one by one. So how did birds become the last living dinosaurs on Earth? To understand this, we need to first understand the dinosaur family tree. If you remember anything from today, please remember this. All birds are dinosaurs, but not all dinosaurs are birds. You'll understand what I mean in a minute. First, let's name some things that aren't dinosaurs, but things that I thought were dinosaurs for a long, long time. Crocodilians, for example, are not dinosaurs. I thought this my whole childhood. It's false. Dinosaurs and crocodilians diverged from their shared ancestor millions of years ago. The difference is that dinos have an upright stance with their legs, and those legs are beneath their body, and this is a trait that crocodilians do not share. The same goes for today's snakes and other reptiles. These are not dinosaurs. Birds though, yep, those are dinosaurs. All right, now that we have that down, let's jump into the family tree. So here's the family tree of the Dinosauria, aka the dinosaurs. You have Ornithischia. I'm gonna butcher all of these scientific names. You know I do that, but I'm gonna do it anyways. This includes things like Triceratops, Iguanodon, Stegosaurus, and Ankylosaur, some pretty popular dinosaurs. Then there's the Sauropodomorpha line, which includes the sauropods like Diplodocus. Oh my goodness gracious. Who named these things? Diplodocidea and Macronaria. Basically the long-necked dinosaurs, my goodness. Then there's the Herrerasauridae, which honestly, I'm not gonna go into this at all because scientists are still trying to figure out where this specific, lineage lies. And then finally, there's the Theropoda, the theropods. This includes Tyrannosaurus rex, Allosaurus, and birds. All right, so let's look deeper into the theropod line real quick. Obviously, there are many branches that move out from here as well, and we're talking about evolution that's taking place over hundreds of millions of years. So from theropods, birds follow the line through the Tetanurae, then Coleroschiria, my goodness, and then finally Maniraptora, which are the birds. So then we take this even deeper. Then we look at Maniraptora, and the birds fall into Peniraptora, Paraves, Aviraptora, and finally Avialae. All of these categories are known as clades, which are biological groups that consist of common ancestors. So Avialae, which includes the avialans, such as Archaeopteryx. Some people consider this the first bird or the first avian, dinosaur. Rayhonavis, Jeholornis, and then, all of these are now extinct. But one line remains. If we follow these clades even deeper, we go from Avialae to Ave brevicauda, then to Ornithothoracis, which includes today's modern birds. Then we keep on going, and eventually we land on Aves, the last surviving line of the dinosaurs. It's important to remember that although I've laid this out kind of in a line, evolution is not a straight line. It's not a linear march. Rather, it's a tree with a whole bunch of branches. Also, not all adaptations are progressive, and these groupings are to show branching relationships, not single lines. This isn't a family tree that we have, you know what I mean? But it does show the branches that break off from the theropods, goes all the way down to modern birds. So let's talk about some things that are appropriate and what's not appropriate. For example, just because the T-Rex and today's birds are both considered theropods, you cannot classify T-Rex as a bird. You're going in the wrong direction. Remember, all birds are dinosaurs, not all dinosaurs are birds. And one more thing, just because we know a lot of dinosaurs, including Velociraptor, had feathers, this does not mean that these dinos are birds either. Again, you're going the wrong direction. I've actually seen some wild TikTok theories about T-Rex being able to fly and perhaps having wings as well. It's just not accurate. Again, you're going in the wrong direction. Not all dinos are birds, but yes, all birds are dinosaurs. But what did birds get from being dinosaurs? The simplest answer to this question is everything, as it's like asking what humans got from mammals. We are mammals. Birds are dinos, but I'll break it down for you anyways. Feathers evolved in non-avian dinos for things like insulation and display before being adapted for flight by birds. Hollow bones come from some dinosaurs, specifically from theropods. Wishbones come from the theropod lineage as well. Bipedalism comes from theropods and therefore dinosaurs. Dinos were also warm-blooded, something that I didn't know as a kid either. I just assumed they were reptiles and that they were cold-blooded. They're actually warm-blooded and they were capable of regulating their own body heat, just as birds are. And then other obvious things like eggs, feathers, and similar lungs and breathing systems also are dinosaur qualities. But again, not all dinosaurs. It's also important to note that birds did not evolve from dinosaurs, rather that birds are dinosaurs. Yes, they evolved over time like every living thing out there, but they did not evolve from dinos. Humans did not evolve from mammals. We are mammals. It's also important to note when avian dinosaurs specifically began. The first bird-like fossil are more than 150 million years old. These bird-like creatures were small feathered dinosaurs and still contained sharp teeth. It is, however, impossible to pinpoint when the first birds began because everything that makes a bird arrived at different times in the evolutionary timeline. For example, toothless beaks evolved around 120 million years ago, and hollow skeletons arrived around 100 million years earlier. Again, evolution is not linear, rather it is branching. All right, so Archaeopteryx. This has widely been regarded as the first bird, but you can see why this would be disputed by scientists. Archaeopteryx had feathers and a wishbone. It also had teeth and a long bony tail. It also had long claws on its hands. Experts aren't exactly sure if Archaeopteryx flew or just could glide between trees, but we do know that it was in the air, most likely. So therefore, as I mentioned earlier, it falls outside of the modern group of birds and rather as a branch on the journey to modern day birds. It's also important to remember that while we can't really call Archaeopteryx a bird, it is 100% a dinosaur. There are, however, newer discoveries since Archaeopteryx that seek to take the title of the earliest known bird. For example, Asteroid, Maastrichtensis, my goodness gracious, also known as the wonder chicken, which is what I'll be calling it for the rest of this video, is considered to be the earliest animal on record that would be considered a bird. Fossils of the wonder chicken date back to 66.7 million years ago, just 700,000 years before the mass extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs. The wonder chicken was thought to have been small and lived on the ground. It's also likely that it could fly, which could have helped it survive the extinction. This mobility through the air and ability to travel large distances to safer areas was the difference between extinction and survival. There's also no doubt that birds were extremely lucky. Most bird-like animals actually didn't make it at all. Only 3 groups survived the extinction. The first is Galione, which waterfowl and chickens descended from this group. Then there's Peleagnathai, which are emus and ostriches. That's where they come from. And then there's Neoaves, which 95% of all living birds today come from that group. In reality, we were extremely close to losing birds and therefore all dinosaurs altogether. So you might be asking, why in the world does this matter? Well, for starters, it's amazing to think that the last surviving dinosaurs on this earth have now evolved into over 11,000 species. Birds survived the most tragic event to ever hit the earth and thrived for millions of years after. But their stories don't end there. People love dinosaurs, Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus rex. My personal favorite, the hadrosaurs, which are the duck-billed dinosaurs. But what we fail to recognize is that dinos live among us today, and we're losing them too. When you see a pigeon on the road, you're looking at the last dinosaurs still walking among us. Since 1970, bird populations have dropped by 3 billion in North America alone. There's a variety of reasons for this, which I'll save for another video. But here's 5 things that you can do to help save the last of the dinosaurs. Number 1, keep cats indoors. Cats live longer indoors. It's scientifically proven. I think their lifespan doubles by just being kept indoors, and they're also one of the top killers of birds around the world. Number 2, make your windows safe. Adding decals and turning off your lights at night will help save the birds. Number 3, plant native species in your yard. The US alone has 63 million acres of lawn. That's wild. If each person dedicated a section of their lawn to the birds, that would go a long way to saving these species. Number 4, use bird-friendly products. Make sure your coffee is bird-friendly. This is kind of the biggest one that I see. And then number 2, try to avoid products with palm oil in them. Palm oil plantations are a big reason why a lot of our South American birds are going extinct. And then lastly, become a birder. Watch and observe birds. Your data that you record into things like eBird and iNaturalist contributes valuable data for scientists to analyze and help save the birds. So again, are birds dinosaurs? Absolutely. Every single one of them is a living dinosaur. In reality, the age of the dinosaurs never truly ended. They just took flight. Let me know in the comments below 2 things. What is your favorite living dinosaur, aka bird? And what is your favorite dinosaur? Again, mine are the hadrosaurs, the duck-billed dinos. Make sure you check out Bright-Eyed Birding, where I take you on adventures once per week to find some of these living dinosaurs and show them to you. Also check out Mythic Wilds if you're more interested in some of the cryptozoology/mythology elements of the world and tying those back to real life creatures. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you all next time on Bright-Eyed Birding Learn.